Joining us now is a man who is the all-time leader in touchdowns at the tight end position. Changed the game. Kent State basketball legend. Chargers icon. Now, officially, Pro Football Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, Antonio Gates.
Yeah! Careful.
Sir, it's tight. It's tight.
It's slippy.
Athlete. It's an athlete.
It's slippy down there.
What's up, man? See you too. Hell yeah, be careful. Don't lean back.
Hey. What you say, they got to be an athlete to get up here?
Yeah, man, you got to be the major athlete to get up here on this list.
Well, thank God it's you, because we went through your shit today. I don't think we knew your history. We knew you were a Kent State basketball player. We had no idea that you were enrolled at Michigan State when Coach Saban was there. Yeah. Asked to play both sports. He said, no, not going to do that. I think even you're going to the defensive side.
Yeah.
Then you transferred to Eastern Michigan or something like that.
I was on tour like an artist.
Then you went to JUCO. Then you went to Kent State. And I was committed to Kent State in high school my senior year for a point. Went up on a visit. They have a whole mural about Antonio Gates up there and you hooping. Yeah. And it was like real shit. Like you were like real hooper. Now the world knows you as the greatest tight end touchdown scorer of all time. When you think back to those days, did you know that the cards were going to be football? Did you think it was going to be basketball? Like, when you look back now as an official Hall of Famer, I think it all worked out well. But was there a lot of moments of, like, wonder how it was going to go for you?
Oh, well, you're always optimistic that things will go the right direction. But for me, it was just all about basketball at that point. I think, even when I went to Michigan State, me going to Michigan State was me, having an opportunity to play the game of basketball. So, never in a million years that I thought I'd be standing here in Canton, Ohio, being a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Well, you're sitting right now. You will be standing later, but nonetheless, it all remains. And we looked up your stats. 955 catches. 11,841 receiving yards. 116 touchdowns, most in the history of the NFL. You and Phillip Rivers had a great connection, but the way you played the position was so much different than everybody in the past. How easy was it transforming into a tight end in the NFL? And then how easy was it transforming the position of tight end forever? Because if you look now, a lot more Antonio Gates is at tight end than there was before you got into the league. You changed the game forever, brother.
Yes, I appreciate that. Well, it wasn't easy because I got cursed out a lot.
Yeah.
So just so we clear, I got cursed out a lot. I did a lot of off-platform things. And at the time, I think that is what it means to redefine certain things. When you do things off platform, people don't agree with them at times. I like to use the analogy of the enemy of great is good.
Hell yeah.
So that was kind of what it was for me. I would see guys who did it the right way. And obviously, as a basketball player, I had things that I was used to doing, creating separation. And, I was going against guys 6'9", 6'10", so I had to find a way to get my shot off at times. So playing the game of football, I would do that. And guys coach say, go to 16. I'm like, well, he's sitting at 16, coach. I'm going to go to 14.
Yeah, a
guy that knock your head off sitting at 16 yards. I'm not going to 16, coach. And I think what happened is that they start giving me the ability to make the adjustment. And I think when you think of a good athlete, you think of his ability to adapt in the actual space at that moment. And so when I would run a route, I never really know what I'm about to do. I just make the adjustment at the right time, and I think that's what gave me an opportunity to be successful in the game of football.
So, on that note, we were talking about you earlier today. A.J. Hawk was a rookie and preseason game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the rep. He does. You were on, I think you were at the end of the line, then you motioned out a little bit.
Yeah.
And A.J. Hawk, linebacker, has you. A.J. was trying to disguise that he was not covering you, okay? You knew this guy. You guys did a skim milk check on this guy. And he said that you hit him with, how many moves did you say?
It felt like 15 moves within like a half a second. Yeah.
And obviously you got wide open, you get a catch. And then he said immediately afterwards, you were like, hey, you got to look at my hips, dude.
Started coaching.
You started like coaching him up.
Yeah.
How much of that, what was your relationship like with the guys that you played against? Mm-hmm. And at what point did you realize, like, I can get open against basically anybody?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, it's a natural reinforcement when you make, catch passes. So when I first started in the NFL, I went against a guy named Rod Woodson. He was playing safety for the Raiders at the time, and I was a rookie. And I had been playing video games with Rod Woodson my whole life. So I remember Drew Brees was the quarterback at the time. And they call him to play, and it's like a slot. I'm out the slot formation, it's backside, and it's 1-on-1. I got a corner route. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I've been playing video games with Rod Woodson. There's no way I'm going to get open against this dude. He's a Hall of Famer, right? So I went up and made a catch on Rod Woodson. It was like a third down conversion. And I think what happens is that it sends a signal to your brain that I belong here. Yeah. And I think ultimately the more plays I made, the more I felt like, okay, you know what? I belong here. And I think you got to have it mentally first before you can obviously play it and let it come out in the game. So you got to have it mentally to make no mistake about it. No matter how humble I sound, how humble I seem, when I play, I feel like I got this dude.
Yeah.
I can beat him. You got to have that part in order for it to, come to fruition in real life.
The conversation with the lads afterwards, that was Rod Woodson, bro.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
D-Bud has a question for you.
Yeah, a lot of the guys playing now look up to you. Pat mentioned it. You changed the position. But who were some of those legends, some of those Hall of Famers? I know Kellen Winslow Sr. played for the Chargers. Who were some of those legends you looked up to coming up at the tight end position?
Well, again, basketball was my forte. I didn't really have guys that I would say I look up to in a sense.
Yeah.
But I know the idea of when you make things happen is the respect factor of guys who created the lane for you. Mm-hmm. And you name a guy like Kellen Winslow Sr., Marty Schottenheimer would always say, he would compare me to Ozzie Newsome a lot.
Legend.
Right. I'm from Detroit, so I knew a lot about Charlie Sanders. Mm-hmm. Guys that just paved the way and created that lane. So, when you think about the sport, and then, obviously, the Tony Gonzalez's and the Shannon Sharps and even the younger guys now. So it's so many guys, and I like to use the analogy because they always talk about, who's the best tight end or who's the best this, and that's the comparison in sports. But the reality of it is that I treat it like a 4x1 team. We all had the baton at one time, and we ran as fast as we can with it. And I think that's really what it's all about. It's now we're passing it to the next generation, and I see guys like George Kittle's, the guys that's keeping it going. And I think that's what it was for me. A guy gave it to me, and I had it at one moment, and I said, I got to run my best race. Fast out there, and then pass it to somebody else, and hopefully they run, hey, it's your turn. You got to run as fast as you can. And I think that's really what it's all about. And I hope, now you see the generation, and they constantly growing at the position. So I'm happy to be a part of that.
How do you feel about tight end university and everything like that? We talk about changing the position. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was kind of the goal of that is like, I think it was financial business talk too. Like, hey, we're starting to catch the ball a lot more, and they're trying to talk about us as tackles. We're actually wide receivers as the market kind of changed for everybody. But also, like, give an inside game to everybody. You talk about passing the baton. Feels like they're trying to do that. Have you witnessed that from afar? Have you gone to it? And what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I was invited to it, but I haven't been yet. But I do like what they're doing. And I think
you missed the Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah, right. My daughter be mad about that. My daughter left Taylor Swift, but yeah, I do like what they're doing because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about, right? It's serving a purpose and having a platform to be able to say, all right, well, I had this opportunity to do X, Y, and Z, and this is the space that I was in. Now let me tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And I think it's a great idea for the tight ends and the next generation.
AJ has a question for you as a Ohio guy hits the horn as he rides by in the highway.
You mentioned it's fascinating to listen to you talk about running routes, and I would assume like you had a lot of freedom to run, work off the leverage of your defender. Like, was that always a thing when you were young getting into the league? And obviously, how do you build that rapport with Drew Brees? Obviously, Phillip Rivers, we saw the connection you guys had. Like, how do you earn that trust in the quarterback and the coach to where, hey, I'm gonna get open. You throw me
one. Yeah. Well, you got to earn it. That's for sure. I think what happens is that it's repetition. It starts with underneath the surface, so they would know that at the end of the day, I'm working beyond my means. So it means more to me to have success than it does to the coach, staff, and everybody around me. I think that's just something that you build. That's what the training camp is for. Right, you start with them dog days, that foundation. You're working hard. I'm the last one to leave. I'm working hard. I'm running more. I'm running extra. I'm doing extra. And ultimately, when I get out there, it means just as much for me to do it right than anything because I know guys are depending on me. So that was my philosophy going into any game is that, man, these dudes believe in me. The game plan is surrounded by number 85. I need to make sure I deliver. And I think that meant the world to me that guys would believe in me to that level. So I would always make sure I would do the best I can and, set the tone, the fast as I can.
Ty has a question for you. Hall of Fame, Antonio Gates.
Yeah, so just curious. He just mentioned Phil Rivers there. In terms of, like, whenever his name gets brought up, it's always, hey, is this guy a Hall of Famer? Obviously, we see his numbers. They're incredible. But then the Super Bowl discussion always comes up. What was it like having him as a teammate? We've all seen the videos. Like his I truly believe he's one of one in terms of like his personality. When you look back at your career, like how thankful were you to have a guy like that as your quarterback? And just what was it like being teammates with him?
Wow, you talking about a fiery, passionate. His IQ was unmatched, man. I always knew that he was going to come and compete. I think that's what we had in common, is that our ability to just go out and compete. I knew he was going to give it his all, and he's going to trash talk along the way. So so you gotta be prepared, because he'll be trash talking to guys that you got to block. So you know what I'm saying? So that was the hardest thing. Is Richard Seymour is a big dude, Philip. So you keep talking to him. I got to trade block Richard Seymour, and he's mad at Philip. You know what I'm saying? So it's the greatest feeling in the world to have a guy like that on your side, because it makes the game fun too. Because at the end of the day, we play the game for all the other stuff, X's and O's and the money, but you gotta keep that same kid energy, that 14, 15-year-old kid.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out here and have fun, man. We playing in the NFL. We got the best job in the world. We get to play games and get paid. That's what he loved to do. He loved to play football.
You look pretty jacked still. Look pretty jacked. I don't know if that's just going to be forever you, or if you're still getting after it or not. You think you don't get enough credit for being able to block? Nobody ever mentions your name with blocking.
I know. Well, people don't know this, but in order to start from Marty Schottenheimer, you got to be able to block power and counter, man. So I started with Marty Schottenheimer, and the reason why I started is because of my ability to block power and trade block, go to the backside back, and ability to block counter. So people really don't never say that. But the athletic part came later on. I had to block power and counter because AOT was getting the ball. You know what I'm saying? So,
you could say you cut your teeth.
Yeah.
Block it.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah, you earned the passes to block it. Nobody ever says that about Antonio Gates.
Yeah,
they say,
always
this
talking
guy,
to catches.
160 touchdowns.
I know.
This guy's a threat through the sky. 11,841 yards. Holy shit. They don't talk about it.
Yeah, you have to be able to block. You have to be tough, too.
Yeah, that's how you get the ball.